Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we are going to be breaking down the auction house in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM, talking about how it should work and what is really good about the auction house coming back, but also my biggest concerns on what could be problematic about the return of the auction house here with 2K25 MyTEAM and how 2K could turn the auction house into something that is basically just as bad as the player market wound up being in 2K24. So before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 30,000 subscriber mark on the channel. We're about 1,000 subscribers away from that. So I'm back uploading pretty much every single day. And once 2K25 comes out, y'all know we're going to be back to uploading like crazy. And when I say like crazy, I mean 6, 7, 8 videos a day. So tons and tons of consistent MyTEAM content coming very soon. But right now, just doing a few videos here and there, talking about things a day or video or two a day. And today's video's topic is going to be the auction house, because I think this is something that is very, very important to talk about, is what 2K's plan is with the auction house and the things to be on guard for and to be watching for that could really cause issues with the auction house. So with that being said, without further ado, let's hop right into it. The thing first and foremost that I will say, it is good that the auction house is coming back. Yes. With that being said, I personally am not in a position where I want to give 2K a lot of credit for bringing the auction house back. There are other things coming in 2K25 that look interesting that I will be talking about over the next week and a half before the game comes out, and breaking down those things for sure at that point, and talking about those modes that I think 2K actually does deserve some credit for. This is not one of those things. The auction house should have never left. I feel like giving them credit for bringing back something that was a feature that never should have left, and when it left became a massive problem in last year in 2K24 when the gambling was introduced. I don't think we should be clapping our hands and praising 2K for bringing back the auction house, because again, it should have never left. Now, we can read through what they've said about the auction house. There's not a ton. They basically just tell us that they've consolidated the auction house, and you can see here on the menus, you have your auction search, active bids, and then outcomes as well, all in the same menu. So it just makes it easier to see your auctions. And again, you can also expand the amount of cards that you have selling. Right now it says 3 of 20. I don't exactly know what tier that would be at, but you can expand it from whatever you'll start with, which will probably be 5 or something like that, and it'll expand as you rep up, which should not be too hard to get the first couple of tiers of that anyway. Now, what they did say about the auction house is that it has a zero tolerance policy on activity detrimental to the health of the mode. Now, that's not incredibly specific what that means, but mainly what that is referring to is buying MT. Would be my main guess. I think that's pretty much the thing they're talking about. Here's my honest truth, y'all. And y'all, if y'all have been watching my channel for a long time, y'all know that I used to promote MT buying on my channel. I had MT buying sponsors. I will not be buying MT. I will not be promoting buying MT, and I would recommend y'all don't buy MT. I think they are going to be really, really strict on this, and I don't totally blame them. I think that the community does sometimes contribute to their own issues at times, I will say, and that does not excuse 2K's BS that they often like to pull, but at the same time, I think the community did at least in a little bit contribute to 2K's willingness to just remove the auction house entirely last year by all the problems that rose or came up because of buying MT. So I think there's a certain amount of validity to this level of strictness, and I hope it is strict but correct and fair and doesn't ban people wrongfully when they don't actually do anything wrong. That is what I mainly hope for, and it'll be interesting to see how these bans are implemented. The thing that I am the most concerned about with the auction house is one thing and one thing only, and that is how they would find a way to bring the gambling back and to try to squeeze every last dollar out of their community. And it's really simple to see how that could happen with the auction house. It's not hard at all. Let's look at 2KDB. All they have to do is, instead of, for example, these drops that came out last year where most of the drop is in packs only, they just make your GOAT cards and your 100 overalls and all your special insert cards that were special inserts in 2K24. They are now also special inserts in 2K25, and they're not auctionable. They're pack only. It's really simple. That's how 2K would likely turn the game back into a gambling simulator and ruin MyTEAM for the second year in a row. I am absolutely praying that they are actually listening to their community and that the higher ups do not get so exceedingly money hungry that they ruin their game for a second year in a row, because if the auction house works as intended, it will be a marketplace where it will be possible to get the cards you want. And yet I still think no money spent players, unless you are just an exceptional sniper, which again, by the way, that's another thing to talk about with the auction house, and I'll talk about more in a second, but sniping is allowed. So sniping is something that I would probably encourage, but unless you are a great sniper, I feel like the auction house is actually going to cause people likely to be more likely to spend more money than they were last year with the player market prior to gambling, because I think the player market prior to gambling last year was actually a cheaper way to get cards than the auction house has ever been. I think the auction house will likely produce certain cards that if people want those cards, they're going to have to spend a good amount of money on VC and things like that to try to attain those cards. And it's going to be interesting for sure to see how that gets implemented. Because I do think the auction house could actually lead to a potentially more expensive game mode in a lot of ways than the game was, at least pre-gambling in 2K24. So definitely something that'll be interesting to see how that works. But again, the gambling cannot continue. It cannot, period. Plain and simple. It is the #1 priority. And if the gambling is re-implemented into the auction house and there are non-auctionable cards that you can pull in packs each week and that type of stuff, that's problematic. Now, I'm not saying reward cards should be auctionable, because they never have been, and I don't really expect them to be this year, but there cannot be cards that are gate kept behind the only way to get the card is to spend money. That cannot be the only way to do it, especially when it is the only way to get the card is to spend money and there's no even real guarantee that you actually get the card. That is horrible. It is the #1 thing more than anything else that ruined NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. And again, full stop, it is the most important thing that cannot return in 2K25. Plain and simple, it is that black and white, I think, in all honesty. So I hope that 2K screws their head on and doesn't decide to try to screw their community. Gonna have to wait and see on that. You know what I mean? I don't have a ton of confidence, in all honesty, in 2K to create a game that is fair to the community and isn't trying to exploit them for every last thing, but I can cross my fingers and hope, right? We'll have to wait and see. But the cool thing about the auction house is the ability that it opens up for a no money spent player to snipe again. There was a whole sniping community in 2K, and that's something I've never really been a part of. And in all honesty, I don't really expect to be a part of. If I find a cool snipe filter, I might post a video on it. I'll post some auction house crash and rise and market stuff videos, but I'm not an expert in that area. There are a lot of people who are, and I think it opens up a whole other avenue for content, and it opens up a whole other avenue for making MT, playing the game without actually grinding the game online, or even playing the game itself. It opens up a whole different world for the card collector specifically, which is in a lot of ways what MyTEAM is directed towards. You know what I mean? Is those card collectors. And so obviously my hope is that they execute this well and that it becomes, again, a fair place to grind in multiple ways to get cards. You can grind the game on the auction house, sniping if you want. As long as the gambling doesn't come into the mode and we don't have stupid things like price floors and price maximums and stuff. Like Madden has had some issues with price floors this year. If we can let's just not screw with that type of stuff. If they want to put price maximums, okay, I get it, but they better not be unreasonably low or unreasonably, they just better not be stupid. You know what I mean? We don't need insane restrictions on the auction house. And I think if they actually do properly have a good verification system in order to prevent the MT buying, I have no problems with that. I just hope the game itself is rewarding and fun to play, and that the auction house, if executed correctly, can hopefully restore MyTEAM to a certain extent of its former glory. If it's executed correctly, it's going to automatically be a massive upgrade over the last 6 months of 2K24 where the gambling is. It's just a no-brainer. If they execute that correctly, that will be a massive, massive step in the right direction. And yes, it's something that never should have been changed, but please just let it come back the way that it should, because it will save. I mean, save might be too strong of a word, but it will certainly help MyTEAM in a lot of ways. And I think save might not be that strong of a word at the end of the day. This is a very big deal. And if the auction house is implemented correctly, it's going to be really good for the future of the mode. We'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed anyway. That's going to do for this video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Base.